In this video, we are trying to answer the questions that you have regarding the changing of subjects when you are doing your matric rewrite and matric upgrade for the year 2025. So there are people who are concerned and they want to know, are they allowed to change subject as they are going to rewrite or upgrade their matric? Maybe you had mathematics that you are trying to change to maths lit, or you have a physics that you're trying to drop for history. So are you allowed to do that? The simple answer is yes, you are allowed, but there are rules that are in place. So first one is who can change, who is allowed to change their subject. First of all, the people who are allowed to change, the first group is people who do not have a matric certificate or a matric statement at all, meaning these people never sat for their matric exam. Maybe you made it to your matric year, but you were able to do term 1 and term 2, and for some personal reasons best known to you, you are unable to complete your matric year. There's people who have such cases. They are not very common, but unfortunately, unfortunate life events tend to take place in people's lives. If you are in that situation, you are allowed to come and redo your matric, and when you are redoing your matric, you are allowed to change the subjects that you are wanting to register. So just because when you were in high school you sat in a class that was the science stream does not mean you are now still forced to do the same. You are not. You can change your subjects because you do not have a matric statement in existence. Number 2 group is people who hold a matric certificate, but it's a senior certificate, meaning they did their matric before the year 2008. Those people are allowed to change their subjects to whichever subjects that they want. So let's say in the year that you were doing your matric, you were in the science stream again, but now you want to change your subjects to history, whether it being those subjects you were not good with them, or because of the reason that it's been a long time since you've done your matric. So when coming back, you wouldn't want to challenge a subject like physics. You would rather opt for a religion studies. This group of people will be more than welcome to change their subject from one stream to another. And then when it comes to the people now who did their matric after 2008 and they hold what we call a national senior certificate, for you to be allowed to change your subject, you are only allowed if your national senior certificate is older than 5 years. Reason being, if it's younger than 5 years, that means your CAS mark is still in existence and that's stopping you from changing. But if it's older than 5 years, your CAS mark is no longer in existence and you can change. But how do you change? There are rules to changing. You do not just change anyhow without knowing the rules pertaining to your change. So the first one is the 6-subject rule. The 6-subject rule basically is for you to have a matric certificate, you need to have 6 subjects on there. So whatever and however you're switching your subject, you can mix and mismatch them however you want to, so long as at the end of the day you have 6 subjects. They have to be 6. They cannot be less than 6. Also, they do not have to be 7. I know that in matric they register people for 7 subject. There is a reason why they do that, and we'll discuss that in the next chapter. But just know that for you to have a matric certificate, you need to have a minimum of 6 subjects. So long as the mix of the subjects that you have chosen lands you on having 6 subjects. So for example, you passed 4, you passed 4 in your matric and you failed 3. You don't have to register 3 subjects. You can register only 2 subjects and you will still have your matric certificate, provided that you pass the 2 subjects that you have now registered. And then when it comes to the people who have a senior certificate and people who do not have a matric at all and they're wanting to register for matric afresh, by the way, it's very important that you know that those people who do not have matric at all, they have to be 21 years old and above for them to be able to do this. If you're less than 21 and you were not able to complete your matric year, you have to go back to your school and do so. But if you're above 21 and you want to do it with an institution that is for matric rewrites and upgrades, you have to be above 21. So when you are in that position, you do not have to choose mathematics or mathematical literacy. So let's say you are a kind of person who says maths is not my thing, regardless of whatever kind of maths it is, whether it's pure maths or maths literacy, both of them are not my thing. If you have a senior certificate or you do not have a matric statement at all, you are allowed to not take mathematics as a subject. You are allowed to. So long as you have 6 subjects at the end of the day, those 6 subjects do not have to include either mathematics or mathematical literacy. Then we also have the issue of the CAS mark. So what are the rules concerning the CAS mark? So we know that the reason you are allowed to change is because these people we have listed means that their CAS mark is no longer active. But you having your CAS mark no longer active, it can be a good thing because it means in the examination that's not going to affect you. It's also allowing you to change. But if your CAS mark is still active, you cannot change. But even though that sounds like it's a good idea, you also have to understand the implications of the decisions that you're making, so that when you're making your decisions, you understand the advantages and the disadvantages of taking that decision. So when discussing implications, we are going to first start discussing the exam periods. So when you are changing a subject and you are holding a national senior certificate, you are basically saying that you do not want your national senior certificate to be a national senior certificate anymore. You are changing it to what we call a senior certificate, because you got rid of that CAS mark that we were talking about. So getting rid of the CAS mark makes your certificate no longer a national senior certificate, but a senior certificate. And when you have a senior certificate, your exam period changes from being October, November to being May, June. Now there are advantages and disadvantages to that. Obviously, when you are writing in June, you get to write sooner, but on the advantage side, it means that you have now a very short period of time to study for those subjects. So as you're choosing your subject, you have to pay attention to what the implications are. So for a senior certificate, you write in June, whereas for a national senior certificate, you write in October, November. So it's important for you to know that part as you're making your decision. Then we also have the implication of the CAS mark. So now, when it comes to CAS mark, pay attention to this. You changing your national senior certificate to a senior certificate, you basically got rid of the CAS. When you are getting rid of the CAS, it means that the CAS for every single one of your subjects does not exist anymore. The problem here is the issue of life orientation. Life orientation is a subject that is based on CAS only. We know that life orientation does not have a final exam. Everybody knows this. You have life orientation as a subject up until we do preparatory. After preparatory, it's not there. And everything that you do up until September, that's what we call your CAS. But since you have decided to change your national senior certificate to a senior certificate, it means you're saying that I don't want my CAS anymore. So that means LO as a subject is going to be removed from your statement. So you lose the whole subject because that subject is based on CAS alone. So if your CAS does not exist anymore for all of the subjects, LO will also be included in all of those subjects, and because it doesn't have a final examination, it means you are left now with nothing in terms of LO. So be careful of that one. And then we also again looking at the issue of APS score, especially if you are going to look at the issue of, remember we've just talked about you don't need to have 7 subjects, you can have 6 subjects, but you also have to understand that having 6 subjects instead of 7, that's going to affect your APS score, because that means you have 1 subject less to count. The last implication is the one that comes with the 6 subject rule. So with the 6 subject rule, there is a risk that comes with that. This is where I said I'm going to discuss with you why is it that in Matric they usually make you register 7 subjects. They make you register 7 subjects because the 7th subject becomes a safety subject. If you fail one of the subjects, you will still get your matric. The risk of registering exactly 6 subjects means that if you fail one of them, unfortunately, that would be the end of it for you. So the 7th subject is so for you to have a safety blanket that if you fail one of them, at least you will have the other 6 still, and which is still going to be enough for you to have your matric certificate, because you need again 6, but the 7th one becomes a safety blanket for you. So this is all I have for you in this video. If you have any other questions that you want me to answer in a video, leave them for me in the comment section below, and I will be sure to do just that. Have YouTube recommend you more of my videos, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below.